will actually do that, you know.
Yeah.
But that's wrong. You know, it goes back to what we were saying earlier, you know, it's got to start young, you know, and actually tell these people, like, this isn't an accurate representation of anybody.
Yeah.
You know, you can't say one person is this and then expect it to be everyone. You know, everyone's different, so
I mean,
that's ridiculous.
Even if sociologists have a term for this kind of dichotomy. It's expressive roles versus instrumental roles. Expressive roles being the roles of power, dominance, and go figure, expression. While instrumental roles are the roles of people who facilitate the power, the expression of the people in the expressive roles. So, for example, you look back at the stereotypical 1950s family. The husband, the expressive role, while the going to work, fulfilling his career goals, etc. While the housewife played the instrumental role of maintaining things on the home front, foregoing her own personal aspirations to facilitate the husband's breadwinning ability. And so you look at, protagonistic characters or primary characters versus secondary characters in video games, and you can kind of draw that same kind of distinction that one is playing an expressive role and what the other is playing an instrumental role. And if there's any kind of, association there and, any kind of trend there, who's to say that, somebody might not see, notice the trend of their ethnicity in more instrumental characters as opposed to more expressive characters.
Well, one thing that I think we're not hitting on here is, in terms of the different ethnic groups that make up the primary and make up the secondary. I mean, in the 150 games that they looked at, not a single Native American or Latino or had any primary role in any game.
It's like, do they have a checklist? You know, that they have to go on some website to check. It's like, we haven't used Native Americans. We have to throw in this.
Well, no, but they're just.
I know.
I
think it's just
agree.
safer to make a main character a white person, and then they sprinkle in all the other as secondary characters.
To make sure that they're equally represented. In
somebody can identify with at least one part of the game.
But it is an interesting point that, if somebody sees themselves as, secondary or instrumental to the success or failure of the main character, or sees a character of their race or ethnicity as instrumental to the success or failure of another character who is in an expressive role and is of a different ethnicity, if other ethnic stereotypes can carry over into real life, why couldn't that mindset?
Yeah. I think it'd work especially well for party games. Where you have your party members, they're all kind of even. There's like the one leader, and then they mix in all the races. Why not just start cycling through in games, Final Fantasy should be doing that, personally, I think.
Final Fantasy 13 that's coming out has it.
It's a chick for the main character, right?
Right, and an African American male.
He's in the party as well.
So.
Is that totally
Yeah,
a term?
I can imagine that if they had like this African American protagonist, a lot of blacks would be like, oh yeah, that's really cool. The guys who usually don't get much face on the games are like, oh yeah, now we're up top. But I don't really think it has as large of effect as some people make it out to be, because a lot of stories are also about underdogs. So if people see themselves in a more negative light, they might be more, I don't know what the word, driven to be, trying to strive harder to become better.